This is All Out Politics, news, debate and opinion from the heart of Westminster. Voting is finally getting underway today in the Labour leadership contest. Whoever wins has the big task ahead of them of making the party electable again. So who's best equipped to do it? Joining me to discuss that are a cross-section of Labour MPs representing the three leadership candidates. Olivia Blake is supporting Rebecca Long-Bailey. Fleur Anderson is representing or supporting Keir Starmer. And Stephen Kinnock is supporting Lisa Nandy. Well, welcome to you all. And Olivia, let's start with you. I mean, was this Rebecca Long-Bailey's contest to lose?
Well, I don't think so. I think, it's certainly been an interesting campaign. And I think that what's really shined through Rebecca's campaign is her commitment to some of the most progressive and transformative policies that I think we need to see. So she was one of the key architects of the Green Industrial Revolution and our economic policies that would transform this country. And I think members are really excited.
Are you surprised she's not ahead at the moment?
Well, the only poll that really counts is the one at the end. And I think, a lot of members that I talk to in my own seat are very excited about the ideas that Rebecca's putting forward. So I wouldn't necessarily think that she's set to lose. I think that it's all still to play for, and we've still got quite a long time till the results.
Yeah. I mean, Florence, is Keir Starmer now the favourite, the front runner?
Well, he is the front runner in terms of polls that have happened up to now, but we're only just starting. It hasn't even dropped in our inboxes, so there's a long way to go, I think. In my own constituency, he was the person who came through in our CLP meeting, but there's been a lot of discussion between the three, and I'm actually really glad there are three candidates. It's not a coronation, it's a real discussion we can have over time, and Keir is the front runner, but I really think there's a lot of discussing and thinking that a lot of members have yet to do.
Does Lisa Nandy still have a chance?
Absolutely. I mean, I think Lisa's been the standout candidate of the campaign. The way that she dealt with the Andrew Neil interview was a masterclass. Performance at the hustings has really been inspiring people. And I think there's a view that she is a candidate that can actually change the game. She's the candidate the Tories are most afraid of. She's the candidate that will put Boris Johnson on the back foot at the dispatch box, because with Lisa, you've got that X factor. You've got something special, and I think that's what's really shone throughout this campaign.
What do you think the X factor for Rebecca Long-Bailey is?
Well, I think she's got a real link to the north of England, and I think that's really important as a Northern MP.
So does Lisa Nandy, though.
So does Lisa Nandy, but I think that Rebecca's able to speak to all our heartlands, and I think the progressive politics that she's putting forward are actually going to reach a lot more people and bring people together and unite our supporters behind us. Absolutely.
And what's the unique selling point of Sir Keir?
Well, you talk about the X factor, and we're right, there's got to be something about the leader that's different. And I've been on the doorstep with Keir quite a lot during the campaign. And there's something about the way he engages people and communicates that people trust him. They think he's competent to run the country, which is really, really important factor in this election.
Would you describe him as charismatic?
He is charismatic. When I've seen it, absolutely. When I've seen him out on the doorstep, and there's no one else in this election that people said, if someone was your leader, if Keir was your leader, then we would definitely be voting Labour without a second thought. But we have to think twice about voting Labour this time. So, and also he has got that cross-country appeal. We can see from the constituency Labour parties that have supported him all across the country. There's something about Keir that people know that they can trust to deliver on those policies that we want to see, that's exciting us as Labour members, but also the way that we organise our campaign. I think that's really important. Tackling anti-Semitism, that's very important to me in supporting him. And also that the engagement with people, they can see that he's real and he's very warm. So I've seen it on the doorstep. He has got that X factor.
OK, good. I mean, you say that Lisa Nandy's given a masterclass in how to deal with matters. I mean, she's got herself in a bit of a mess over this whole trans rights issue, hasn't she? Signing a pledge and then saying she wished she hadn't had to sign a pledge.
Well, I think this trans thing has obviously been a difficult part of the campaign for all of the candidates, because what we actually need to be doing is talking about jobs and the future of the NHS and things that matter to the vast majority of the British electorate.
Why she made an issue of it?
Well, she's rightly saying we've got to show solidarity and stand up for those who are being bullied or oppressed, and the Labour Party has to be a party
and
that
expel
builds...
people who don't agree with a party line on trans rights.
I can understand why she signed that pledge, because as she used the example of a trans person in her constituency who had been through a really difficult time, and she wanted to show that she was standing shoulder to shoulder. But I actually agreed with Lisa's subsequent comment, is that we should probably all sign a pledge not to sign any pledge cards, because I think it debases and diminishes our politics. This kind of binary, was Winston Churchill a hero or a villain? Jeremy Corbyn marks out of 10. I mean, I just think it's so childish and puerile. It debases our politics. And what we need is a new kind of leadership. For that to happen, we need a new kind of leader. We need someone who can actually completely change the rules of the game, and that is something I think that Lisa Nandy can
do you think Labour's got bogged down in sort of minority rights or something?
Well, I don't think so. And I think, when we're talking about any form of discrimination, there is a line. And I think that Rebecca's been very clear about that. And I think that it's really important that we stand up for our trans siblings in the Labour Party.
But there's a difference between discrimination and asserting the rights of one group over another, isn't there?
Well, I don't think that there's anything in the GRA legislation that is prohibitive of women's rights. I consider myself a firm feminist, as does Rebecca Long-Bailey, but we also recognise that trans people are going through some of the most horrific discrimination, and that we should be protecting those people as much as any other woman or man or non-binary
people
person.
with male genitalia in a women's prison, for example, you don't have a problem with that?
I personally do not have a problem with that, and I think that, it is really important that all our spaces are safe from sexual predation. I don't think, whether you're a lesbian woman who's a sexual predator, or a straight woman, or a man, or whoever, or a trans woman, I think, all our prisoners should be safe from sexual predation.
What do you think?
Well, as all the candidates said, trans rights are human rights. And actually, this also comes back to anti-Semitism and how we treat discrimination as a party, and who we trust most as a leader to tackle that. And I do trust Keir to take this on and tackle it. And I agree with Stephen that the pledge was it was black and white. There's so much more to this discussion and debate to be had,
but
rather than who we chuck out of the party and who we don't.
Do you think this sort of issue resonates with
that.
the electorate, that this is going to be a vote winner for Labour?
No, I think if we are discussing this for the whole next month, that's not going to help us. What we should be discussing are school cuts, where my children are going to school, saving the NHS, all those things the Labour Party can do when we come together. And I think it's got to be about unity within the party. It's an important discussion to have, but it can't be the only discussion we have for the next 4 weeks. So the main debate has got to be how we transform our country, how we get ourselves back into a position of power and winning. And that's what will matter to most people. That's what will make the difference.
And that to a certain extent is Rebecca Long-Bailey's problem, that she's identified so closely with Mr Corbyn, who doesn't appear to be on the voters' wavelength.
Well, I think that the policies that have been set out and determined by Rebecca Long-Bailey really do speak to the electorate. And the Green New Deal and Green Industrial Revolution, for example, was an absolute cornerstone of my campaign in Sheffield Hallam. And that was the most popular thing that we were talking about during the election campaign. Brexit paled into insignificance when we started talking about the challenges of our climate. And I think that Rebecca's the only candidate who really fully understands the climate emergency. And that's why she'll be getting support of a lot of younger people in this competition.
OK, thank you all very much indeed. Well, still 6